Hi, I'm Sayojita. I'm just about ready to take today's dish to the table. In my opinion, it's the simplest Indian dessert, Shrikhand, the original frozen yogurt. There's no cooking involved and it's practically effortless. You do, however, have to plan ahead of time, but that's about it. The ingredients are simple, just yogurt, sugar, and usual flavorings like saffron or cardamom. Today is a festive occasion and I have paired this with its favorite companion, the Poori. Let's see how it's made.
The first step is to remove all the whey from the yogurt. This is how I do it. I have the sieve on top of a container to catch the whey. I'm using store-bought natural yogurt. It is thicker than homemade, so it's just easier, but you can easily use homemade. And a cheesecloth bag to hold the yogurt. Add the yogurt to the bag. Then I'm going to tie the bag like so. The whey will start dripping right away. I usually hang the bag and let the whey drip out. However, you may not have a convenient place to hang the yogurt like I do. So what you can do is weigh it down with some heavy object like these two pestles. They'll do the job quite nicely. Or you can even fill a container with water and place it over the yogurt bag. I have this bar in my kitchen on which I can hang the yogurt pouch. I do keep these couple of cutting boards in the back to keep the bag from touching the wall. Hang the bag like so. It will drip like this for a few hours. I'm going to keep it overnight because I need to make the Shrikhand for lunch tomorrow. But 7 to 8 hours should be plenty for this much yogurt. It's the next morning, about 8 hours since we hung the yogurt. And here's my hung curd, or chakka as we call it. And that's what I'm going to refer to it from now on, chakka. It's much easier than saying hung curd. I'm going to take it out in this glass bowl so you all can see it well. The whey is all gone and the chakka is almost forming a stiff ball. That's how it should be. It will loosen a bit after we add the sugar. We have removed about 1.5 to 2 cups of whey, you can see right here. I'm going to prep the saffron. Usually saffron is dissolved in warm water or warm milk to do this, but that would loosen the Shrikhand a little too much. Instead, I'm going to use this small tadka kadhai and warm it a bit on the flame. Turn off the flame and then drop the strands of saffron on it. That's going to warm up the saffron and release its color and flavor. Make sure that the kadhai or whatever you use is not so hot that the saffron will burn. I'm just going to set it aside now and move on to adding sugar to the chakka. The hardest part of the process, which I have to say is not that hard. The easiest way, of course, is to take the required amount of sugar and just stir it into the chakka with a spoon. I'm not very fond of this method because this leaves a grainy Shrikhand. Some people do prefer Shrikhand to be like that. I like mine to be smooth. So here are 2 ways to achieve that. The traditional way is to use a rotary flour mill or purani yantra as we call it in Marathi. You add the chakka on top here like this along with the sugar and then just turn the handle. The chakka and sugar mix together and fall into the container below. Any lumps are smoothed out by this process. This method is good if your sugar is coarsely granular like we usually get here, or if you're making a large quantity of Shrikhand. The second method is the one I'm going to use. We do get coarsely granular sugar and I'm just going to powder it. If your sugar is as grainy as table salt, then you can just use it directly. This works well if you do not have a lot of yogurt and your sugar is fine. For this, I just need a large strainer and a spoon or ladle to push the chakka and sugar mixture through the strainer. Needs a little bit of work, but I think it's just fine for this quantity of yogurt. And you don't need another gadget in the kitchen. If you're using the strainer, then I don't like to add too much sugar all at once because that makes the whole process longer. I just add enough sugar to loosen the chakka to put it through the sieve. Adding sugar later on is quite easy. You just add it to the smooth chakka and mix it in. As I mentioned earlier, the chakka is nice and thick and it will loosen after we add the sugar. Use a spatula to take all the stuck on yogurt from the strainer. I'm going to transfer this chakka back to the original glass bowl. At this point, you can taste it and add more sugar if you like. Just mix it in. 3/4 cup is fine for me. If you have granular sugar, you can mix it in now too. It will take a little while to dissolve, so you'll have to keep it in the fridge for a couple of hours. Okay, well, we've added the sugar. The hardest part is over. And now we can add our flavorings. Here's the saffron we warmed up and the cardamom powder. You can add both or either one of them, whatever you prefer, and just mix them in. If you're just adding cardamom powder, your Shrikhand is ready. It will be a beautiful white color. If you're adding the saffron, it will take 1 to 2 hours for its color and flavor to be released into the Shrikhand. I'm going to cover this one and keep it aside for a couple of hours. And here's one I made earlier. Now you can see that the little bits of saffron have expanded, you might say, and the color has been released. As we mix it and stir it into the Shrikhand, you can see it take on the yellow color of the saffron. This Shrikhand is of a wonderful thick and smooth consistency. The color is yellow, which will deepen a little bit more in a little while. You can mix in some nuts now if you like, or like I'm going to do, sprinkle them on top before serving. I'm going to add some shaved almonds later on. Shrikhand will stay in the refrigerator for days. You can also freeze it and then you will have the original frozen yogurt. Now, I'm going to transfer it to a serving bowl. You can see the flecks of saffron and cardamom powder in there with the garnish. And we are ready to go to the table. I have served my Shrikhand as part of this traditional festive meal with pooris, a couple of vegetable curries and masale bhat, a spicy rice.
Well, that was a sumptuous meal. And in spite of the puri, wasn't very heavy at all, because Shrikhand is a light dessert. And as you saw, it's rather effortless. I hope you all will try it in your kitchens. I'm going to leave you with this playlist on Indian snacks and sweets. I think you'll enjoy it. I'll see you again next week. Thank you for watching.